of the Good Gift Show. I am with Mamello Matake, the owner, the founder, ne? The founder,
Owner sounds possessive.
owner, ne?
It's like
The owner of Good
Kuzu.
Good Gift Show. She's not the owner of Good Gift Show. She's not. She's the founder of Bookworms, and you're writing your first book, right?
Yeah,
First official book.
my first official book.
So what is it about?
It's about Pinky. For people that don't know, but then it's about Pinky with some dark romance.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Wait. The Pinky that I know
the Pinky that you know and we all know.
from primary school.
Yes.
I almost cursed. Anyway, so why Pinky with a bit of romance? Because if you think about Pinky and romance, those are kinda counterintuitive.
Obviously, I'm throwing in my imagination, like as wild as you can get. I feel like people have like different theories when it comes to who initially Pinky is and how does Pinky look, and actually how did we even like start having a myth that is called Pinky. So I took time to ask people who like, what do you know about Pinky, and what is the theory that you heard? And I had different stories. Then I tried to put those different stories into creating this creature that will be part of a book. So initially it's about like a boarding school that is a Christian academy, based in a remote area, and it's a co-ed because there's boys, there's girls, just separated by the dormitories because the girls live there, the boys live there, and there is actually teenage love there. We all need help to conquer demons, our own demons. We all need love, but then it's not gonna end well. It's gonna end in tears, by the way. It's not,
Really?
Yeah, it's not gonna be like, oh, fairy tale, happily ever after. I feel like we've been overdoing that, and sometimes in love we don't get the things that we want.
Sometimes in love we don't get the things that we want.
No, we don't.
Yeah, that's a. Can I tweet that actually? We don't get the things that we want. Like you really speaking something that is very, very true. Because people enter into love with expectations, and then when those expectations are not fulfilled, they feel like this guy is not the one for me. This person has been like this, and that, but they forget that they came in with different, expectations. So my question now is, how will you? What's the book like? Target audience. What's your target audience in terms of this book?
Obviously, it's gonna be young adult fiction, and adult fiction because obviously, like, erotic is my thing, So, I'm really targeting young adults mostly. It's a fiction that you can read that's wild, and I know whomever like millennials, when they start reading this book, they will also be like, oh my god,
Yeah.
Pinky. There will be that familiarity in it that people will be like talking about her. Like, actually, I never thought of writing about Pinky. Because even if you can go into like the net and start searching about Pinky, it's just like literally like 2 articles about this person, but then it became part of our childhood. Like, I think most people, they still even have the fear of using the last style in the toilet because and especially that toilet that is out of order. All of a sudden you're like, it's out of order. So obviously the target market is young adult fiction and the ages of millennials and Gen Zs, because I think those are the ones that got to experience Pinky.
Okay. Say I'm reading this book, right, which is your first official book. She kind of wrote, ghostwrited some other people's books which we can't mention, but this
I'll
one
get sued,
is.
yo.
But this one is your like official book.
I took time to write. Obviously, there's books that I've written for me and I've not shared with the world because I feel like I have perfectionist syndrome where I'm like, I'm really trying to perfect this. I'm really trying to put out something that is different and be authentic. And I spend a lot of time reading. Like, I read a lot. So
I know that.
yeah, I read
I
a
know
lot.
that.
Like, I finish a novel in like not even more than 24 hours. Now it's even less because I last week I read like 6 books in 3 days. So it was a sequel. It's like book one, book two, book three until six. You know. So it took time for me to find the perfect and authentic story to put out and publish because I took time to read what is going on in South Africa
Mm.
and the stuff that we are writing and all that. Pretty much, women that the people that write in the literature industry right now is women. So the demographics does show that 65% of women in South Africa actually are the ones who are authors and writing, and what we're writing about is love.
Mm.
So I wanted to write about something different. Also, with keeping in mind that I don't want it to just end with being a book that is known in South Africa.
Explain that.
Gee, we can have contacts about what's about Netflix, see? And then we don't use that, like it would make a great storyline.
So it'll be a book fused with some content in terms of videos and stuff like that. Is that what you're saying?
No, I want it to be big and go global
Oh
because
God.
this is a mythology that we have. This is something that, I think 90% of kids who are in primary experienced in South Africa. This is something that people can relate in, So I really want the book to be big and not just nationally, but then globally, to the point that it does actually get to be a movie or series.
Okay. I think your book it'll be easier for people who don't know who Pinky Pinky is to understand because it's a fictional story.
Yeah.
It's something you've been through it and you are fusing it with love that
Love sells. Love, sex, sells.
there we go. There we go.
So about making money at the end of the day, but then yeah, I love doing this.
So please take me back. Now I want to talk about your company. I want to talk about your idea, which is bookworms. Like, tell me the earliest thing that triggered you to start the business.
Oh well, it was like after my matric, 2017. I was at home. I was not doing anything. I didn't go to school, and pretty much I was still confused. I didn't even know what I wanted, or and like just that dark phase of not being able to navigate your way to light.
Mm.
So started reading a book. It was my first time reading. Like I've been reading since I think when I was like 12, but then I was reading Mills and Boone, like those adult fiction from America, overseas and all that. But then 2017 was the first time reading content from South Africa.
20?
2017.
2017. Wow. Okay.
So I read this book about the Zulu drivers, by Tutu Busani, Shlomo the Wife. I started reading Shlomo the Wife, and it was amazing.
Mm.
Then I didn't stop from then. I kept reading, and then I kept reading and reading and reading and reading different authors and all that. And then I started volunteering for this other organization. And then I did say that okay, like as part of the programs, can they just add anything that touches on literature to just like encourage people to read and all that. It didn't happen. I don't think it was like something that my boss wanted to happen. It could be one of the reasons why it doesn't fall under her vision and all that. So um, I sent a post on Facebook. Like I posted on, I know I posted on Facebook because it always pops up a year later.
Yeah.
And then I was like, hey, my name is Mamello Matake. I'm from Katlehong. I love reading and all that. We can meet up and talk about books.
Oh.
And a year later, I was hosting my first book sessions at Art Center.
Which is 2018.
Which is 2018. A year later, I was hosting my first book sessions. And I told a friend of mine who's a graphic designer, he's the one that did like the graphics of the brand and all that. And I was like, hey, I want to start this and all that. I woke up tomorrow and this guy did all those things. like even did my website, everything, like even like went beyond the vision that I had for myself. And that's how it started. And it started like having a poster, inviting authors, getting to know other authors, being in touch with them and all that. So it started from that post from Facebook saying that, hey, I want to meet people and talk about books. So when I created book sessions, which is under Bookworms, it was solely to meet these people that I read their work, talk to them, discuss about their books, like characters and everything, their storyline. That was the whole thing. And I also wanted to have an event that I could enjoy. Yeah.
So, Bookworms is producing
Book sessions, yes.
Oh, so I guess starting this thing was kind of okay. Let me put it like this: most of the people that start businesses from the ground up, it's really difficult for them to keep on going on. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Because you start, let's say for instance, your situation. I bet people who came were not the number you expected, right? So how did you say, okay, let's say for example, how many people did come?
The first book session was 15 people that came.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's
For a
initially like
first,
a success, but then
yeah,
I was really tired because I was fucking up my chakras that day,
yeah.
and I had venue problems. It was not in a good state. Actually, the lighting was not working, and I managed to make it work. It was actually a success to have like 15 people, and people that moved from like Midrand, drove from Midrand and came to Katlehong to actually like attend my event.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was actually good. It's like the most informative book sessions I think I had.
Wow. So I was saying that my question was, let's say the okay, let's work with the number you had. How did you maybe you expected like 60 or 70 or 100 people. So what made you to keep going on besides the love of it? Because sometimes when you love something, you might feel like maybe it's not for me. Yes, I love it, but what if God gave me a different purpose? Did I make a mistake? So how did you like continue and make sure you keep the train going?
The content that I find in book sessions. Book sessions is like the platform that I created for myself. Right now I'm about to release a book, so obviously like already I do have a community of people that attend book sessions and they know me from there. It's networking for me as well. That's how I get to know people, that's how I get to meet new people and new skills to utilize and help me grow. So I kept going because it was very beneficial for me.
Okay, okay, okay. So, what drew you to? I'm sorry for taking you back to the old days, but I just want to understand
What is
that when you first started this thing, I just want to like my personal experience is that I started reading books like later on. Like I think I was 19-ish or 20.
How old
So
are
that's
you if you said that is later on?
no like later. I'm old. But I started
Wow.
reading I mean later on. Yeah, I was 19. I remember my first book that I read was Who Ate My Cheese? Who Moved My
Who
Cheese
moved
rather.
my cheese?
Who moved
I know the
that
book.
was the first book I read, and I just want to know from you that what drew you or what drew you to reading and writing?
I've always been a writer. I mean, when I was in grade three, I wrote stories, I created stories. I feel like especially girls, I feel like we've always been storytellers. From Kokriso, from Hobale Soka. We would talk to ourselves.
Wow.
So we've always been storytellers. We are actually quite good storytellers because you would actually have a storyline,
Hmm.
you know.
I never thought of that.
So we've always been storytellers. But I took that serious because I started writing and all
Yeah.
that. I remember when I was in grade two, they gave us a book. I don't remember the title, but then I know that my mom beat me up because for saying small is little. So I couldn't read when I was in grade 2. I know that. I still remember this vividly because I couldn't read, and she kept me like beating me up for sentence A1, and until I got it. So from there on, I never stopped. I started reading these like kids books and all that about animals and all that. I kept reading, and then I started creating my own stories because obviously I was already reading. So when you read, you get inspired to write because you also want to like create your own story. And then came in the soccer, came in Mokokri. So I think I always had people around me when I was like and all that because they loved my stories. And my aunts also love storytelling, Dithumo, Botselane, and all that. Exactly.
Yeah, I remember.
So, I took it really serious, but then I never actually wrote throughout my entire primary, And then when I got to high school, ne ke qeta fast ho ngola exam. And then at the back of all my exam papers, I would write poetry.
Did you hear that, bro?
So I don't know, whoever that got hold of my exam papers and all that, they would see that I wrote poetry. I would write poetry. I used to do that a lot because I'd had time to kill. So I would write poetry, especially grade 8. Grade 8 never and all that. So I would write poetry to pass time so that we can go out. Then that's when I started writing poetry and all that.
Let me tell you guys something, right? So I started attending your book sessions. I don't remember the year, but I
definitely
remember
2018.
It was 2018, right?
Yeah.
Who was the host, coach? Sure, I forgot who was the host. But
did you attend when Amhelang was the host?
No, it was like way after I started attending. It was way up because Amelan, the one we did. What was the place? Remember they wanted to kick us out, and then we ended up
Bridge Books. Oh my word!
They wanted to kick Bridge Books. See you. They wanted to kick us out. Remember? And then there was a band coming in.
Maboneng, yeah.
It was in Maboneng.
Yeah.
Oh, flip, man, that day was hectic, and we ended up winning the thingy, and then we fused it with the other event that was happening, and that
it was like a clash of two events happening in one place at the same time, and there was no way that I could say that I'm gonna do this corporate books and then let them carry on.
Because you already spoke with the owner of.
Yeah, I already spoke with the owner. I spoke with no, I didn't speak to Griffin. I spoke to their manager. At that time, I confirmed how we spoke a day before. How? When I get there, how? Okay, the barista, the Ethiopian barista who was there by the door, tell the guy who was there, I forgot his name. The guy who was there was working on weekends, and it's like he also has an event. We must not. Also, we had our own band, so we can't have our band here and there's another band there. So the guy who works for Bridge Books tries to talk to this guy, and this guy's not hearing him. And then I tried to talk to this guy. And then this guy is like, I should wait for the host because he booked it way before. And I also say that I booked this also way before. So it's just a matter of communication that the person who was supposed to communicate this didn't. So it was entirely not my fault, but then because the event is mine and people were already coming in, if I redirect the event somewhere else, it was just gonna be a mess.
And I remember I was standing by it's Bridge Books, ne? I was standing by, what do you call this? Some art. And then I didn't see the guy who took the thing. Remember we thought he stole the painting. And then I'm like, how come it's we can't steal something and still be here. We would have left a long time ago after stealing that thing. And apparently it was bought.
It was bought. That day was genuinely me saying that, okay, you know what, eventing, I'm quitting eventing, I'm done and all that. But then the beauty of eventing and book sessions is that when you think things are falling apart, they're falling into place. Because we had a beautiful event, and the people that came who didn't come for book sessions ended up buying the author's book.
Really?
It sold out.
I didn't know that.
It sold out. The book, Katu's book, The Politician,
Yeah.
it sold out. And it got bought by people who were there just to attend the event that was involving music. They didn't know anything about an author. They didn't know anything about what we were doing. So it turned out to be a very good event, also with a wider audience that they didn't actually know that they could be interested in this, because they were like, oh my God, like, I love what you're doing. We didn't even know this was going to happen. So it turned out to be a very good event. And yeah, things were just not falling apart. They were falling into place.
Wow. Things fall apart. What?
Chinua Achebe.
So there's this thing that I took from you, right? Maybe you don't know, or maybe you forgot. We had like a conversation. I think we were in Germiston.
The book session in Germiston.
Yeah, the one in Germiston. I think we came in because I was also there to speak about the business I was doing.
Yeah.
Remember, I had like a business type of thing, and then I tried everything, guys. So short of act, yeah. If you're having like auditions of acting, guys, please.
Holla the boy. Holla the
I'm
boy.
kidding, I don't know how to act. It's like me trying to rap again. I can't do that. Can't do that. The most easiest things are the difficult ones sometimes. But let me continue my story. I was there to promote the business ENX and stuff like that. And then after that, remember we had like a chilas nyana.
Yeah.
And then you said half of the audience you had, you don't know them. And then there's something profound you said. You said when people that you don't know start supporting you, that's when you know that you're doing great.
Yeah. Half of the people that even today, if I can host book sessions, it's like I meet new people every time. It's only like Moena and a few people that I've been seeing consistently attending book sessions. But then 90% of the people who are part of the audience, most deaf, it's people that I don't know. I had someone, the Eliako Bramko African flavor. I had someone driving from Polokwane attending. I had someone who's actually a very famous author. I didn't know, but then when I saw his picture pop up like days later, I was like, what the, like, this person was there. He flew all the way from Kimberley to attend because a friend of his was also a part of the guest speaker.
Oh,
so he flew in and was like, Katu, the one, the author that was speaking, Go Maboneng, the event, the book sessions, Go Maboneng, actually met me there. He came through, he didn't stay, but then I remember because I saw him and I was like, okay, the someone who just walked in, that didn't really suit up, like someone just walked in and I was there speaking with an author and then I saw him and then he left. And he was like initially saying like, okay, these kids are doing a great job. So when people that you don't know believe in what you're doing something right.
So I have a question in my mind, which I'm about to ask you. But my mind and my tongue, they hate each other. So I can't like connect what I want to say. But it sounds so right in my mind. But let me try. How do you make sure that you don't underestimate progress? Because like progress sometimes is kind of like a trap, because you will, by trap I don't mean music, I mean like trap.
We don't mean new wave.
I don't mean I mean like sometimes you see progress and you feel like, okay, I've made it, and you saying I've made it is when you like kind of like slow down ish. So I'm
relax.
Sure, you know what I'm saying? So I'm sure there's people that came to you and saying, Mamello, I love what you're doing. Mamello this, Mamello that, Mamello that. So how do you make sure you don't listen to those people, but yet appreciate what they say?
I'm a modest person. I don't know how to take compliments. It could be compliment about my work, it could be compliment about my brain, it could be
Mm.
compliment about my looks. Most of the time I avoid them, but it doesn't mean that I don't acknowledge the fact that actually so and so does actually like that, believe in what I'm doing or sees what I'm doing and all that.
Mm.
Um, I don't think my life would have any purpose if I was not doing what I'm doing,
Mm.
because Bookworms gave me purpose. I started not even being depressed about not being in varsity, started not being depressed about, most things that, are in the norm that after matric you're supposed to do. I've
Mm.
met quite a lot of important people through book sessions.
Myself included.
Sorry.
Yes. Yeah, I'm kidding, I'm kidding, I'm kidding. Yeah,
But then I've grown into the woman that I am today because of Bookworms.
yeah.
And I'm earning, even if it's not much, but then I make my money because of Bookworms.
Mm.
So when someone comes to me and approaches me, I don't get arrogant or have a big head. Yeah, maybe when I'm alone and I'm hyping myself up, and because even with my self drive, it's not refilled by anybody but me.
Mm.
So when I'm alone, that's what I'm like. But then, baby girl, man, you are a yes sis, man. You're just a girl.
You are
You know.
You are a yes sis.
You're just a
I've never
girl,
heard of that.
you're doing good and all that. Yeah, when I'm alone, what people say to me become affirmations like, I need to keep going. I need to keep going.
Mm.
So yeah.
So I had an idea, right? That I love bookworms, so book sessions rather so much that I started thinking, why don't you make like a show that that is the same as like book sessions. Like you have like your who was the lady you were speaking with the other day?
Laurelin.
Yeah, you have people like that, and then you air it, and then sometimes you do have like events, like you normally do. But there's this one that for people who can't come, already, they also covered. You get what I'm saying? Maybe.
It's quite like I think with doing them on IG right now, it showed me how much you can also reach people who are not here.
Mm.
I mean, Laurelin Page is a New York Times best-selling author.
I didn't know that.
I was talking to a New York Times best-selling author.
Had it first here on the Good Gift Show. Good Gift Show.
So
yeah.
it was like, the sky is the limit. I've read her books. I love her so much, and I hit her up. I hit so many people. Lockdown. I was talking to Zeximda. I was talking to.
Zeximda.
I was talking to Chikozi.
The legend. Mm.
Obioma. I was talking to a lot of people, even if they didn't make it to the show, but then I interacted with them. And for me, it's not about like them being there as part of the show, but then that's like, oh, we know about you.
Okay. Okay.
So when Laurelyn agreed to do this, obviously we took time to get the right time in the date because she's always on the writing schedule. So even I thought that Central American time is the time like us, but then I wanted to find out how 3 p.m. that side is actually 10 that side. So I had to stay up until 10 so that we can have a live.
Oh,
and
10 is not like bad.
It's not bad. So I think I'm gonna keep having IG book sessions so that it's always there. The content is always there. It's always gonna be there for people that don't even know what is book sessions about. So
I also didn't know much about book sessions until I met you through a mutual friend.
mhm.
And when I started attending, that's when I started understanding how no, this is important because of this. You want to get rid of the stigma that when you want to hide something from a black person, hide it in the book, um, that by that I am saying that you are breaking so many records. You're inspiring a lot of people, myself included. What's next for you now?
Obviously, publishing my first book.
Mm.
It's about time I become an author. Now you're gonna say that I have an author friend who's a big deal.
Yeah, I have an author friend.
So yeah,
AF.
it's about now I officially become, an author. More magazine articles that I should publish because I published one last year. Not even one, like I think I wrote 4
Really?
articles for. Remember that Sweden magazine that I was working for?
Yeah, I remember you were interviewing a celebrity.
Yeah, that's like the first magazine that covered the history of Katlehong as a whole. That is content that would always be there for people that don't know what is happening in Katlehong. We have so much history, like the taxi wars. I was covering taxi wars. Like genuinely more magazine articles. Next year, guys. This year we are just regrouping. Hey.
Yeah.
So that's that. Selling my merchandise.
Wow.
And secondhand books.
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend that wants to open a bookstore. But then we just have to talk about it. But then like the end goal is just genuinely having a reading nation, pen pal, carry on with the program for the reading and writing for kids. On actually kids, it's like obviously because we can't get together as kids and all that. So yeah, carry on with the pen pal because I know how much like kids really do need the support when it comes to literature.
Yeah.
Now don't feel like I'm talking about now you're like, how did you get there? So genuinely I just want to give as much support as I can into like the educational system with helping kids with how to read and write.
Yeah.
And what else? I want to be the next Oprah Winfrey, but then authentically becoming Mamello Matake.
Okay. So I would like us to wrap up this show by you saying a book that changed your way of thinking and quote some, a word or a sentence from that book.
That is unfair.
That
Why?
is fair.
No, that is unfair. That is genuinely unfair because there's like so many books that I read, and I'll feel like I'm betraying my favorite authors.
Okay.
But then a book that changed my life. Yeah, guys, what would it be? But it would be Tutu Busani.
Tutu.
Tutu Busani Dube.
Tutu. T-O-D.
Tutu.
Tutu.
It's
Oh.
Tutu. I mess up clicks. So, Shlomo the Wife, Naledi, His Love. That's one book that made me be confident in my own body. The character was not unrealistic. The character was a big woman, big boned woman, and she had to find self-worth in within herself. So that's one book that I think changed my life because initially if I started getting into the literature industry in South Africa by just reading that.
Wow. Thank you so much for watching. This is the Good Gift Show, and I would like to thank Z Cover. If you want decorations, you know where to find them. It's Z Cover, and
We are within the pilots.
Thank you so much to Vince. Thank you so much to Tshidiso. Thank you so much to me. Thank you so much to Mamello Matake, the founder of Bookworms. And we out of here. Until next time. Love you guys. That was the Good Gift Show on YouTube. Follow Mamello Matake at bookworms_ZA. Until next time, please comment, subscribe, hit that notification button. Until next time. Wait! What are you doing, Nakai? What are you I fell.